For the locator part, you're going to start with your B-size border that is attached. You will download that. You have your grid on. You can leave the grid on or turn it off. That's entirely up to you. You should make a construction layer. We're going to use that to lay out the part in a multi-view. So when you look at the multi-view projection unit, it talks about identifying the overall width, height, depth, and width and depth to make up your three views. So that's what we're going to do first. I'm going to draw using a construction line, which makes a line an infinite length on my screen. Come out here to my open drawing space. I'm going to pick a point and I'm going to run the line in a horizontal direction. From that same point, I'm going to run a line in a vertical direction. That's going to give me the lower corner of my front view. From here, I'm going to use my offset command, and I'm going to start laying out the overall size of each view. So again, the width, the height, and the depth. So my first offset is 5 inches to give me my width. I'm going to leave about 1.5 inches between my views to separate them. The depth is 3. And then I'm going to do the same thing vertically using the horizontal line to create my heights. So my main height of my part is 2.5 inches. Leave the same amount of space between the views here of 1.5 inches. And then again, the depth is 3. Now I'm going to turn my grid or graph off so you can see that now. So we have location of the top view boxed in, front view boxed in, and right side view boxed in. This chapter will also talk about this miter line, which actually runs as a 45-degree angle in this corner. From here we can start kind of drawing in the view. So I'm going to go to my object line. And if you can create these without the construction line, that's perfectly fine too. So the object itself kind of takes on an L shape. So overall height, overall width, it goes up 1 inch, comes over 1 inch, down, and then connects. So this is the basic overall shape of the part. Now to figure out where that is in the top view, that is where that construction line again is very helpful. I can copy or I can offset again, but I'm going to use copy. I'm going to copy to show the projection. This is the projection of that edge into the top view. I'm going to do the same thing with this line, copy to show the height from here to here. And again, if you can draw a lot of this with the object line, perfectly fine, because you will eventually be darkening those components in. So the top view, this piece becomes part of the shape. In the side view, this piece becomes part of the shape. The next step is to just start marking off the locations of each of the component pieces. So as you're looking at that drawing, you'll notice that there is another edge that comes in here because in the top view it has a cutout. There is a curved round piece that's going to be in the center, and there's an angle that's coming in from each edge. So I'm going to start with putting a center line in. Between these two top lines, so that I can use this line now as a reference for that curved component. The cut in the back is 1/4 inch. I can use offset, not have to use projection. I can use offset of this line 1/4 inch to place that in the top. So I don't always have to copy. I can use offset to create that. And it offsets into the part 1/2 inch on each side. So it comes in like this. While I'm in there, I would go ahead and trim to what looks like that part. So again, I was creating these cuts on the back edge. So while I've got those marked, I can go ahead and trim that. In addition, part of that shape, it goes straight up from this side and then goes at an angle. But in the very middle of it, it's an inch separation. So in the middle of this part, using my object snaps here, making sure I put things on the right layer. I'm going to offset that 1/2 inch each direction. I'm going to draw the flat across the back top piece. And then from this corner, it says that it goes down at a 30-degree angle. So I'm going to have to use one of those early on methods of how to input. So I'm going to go at 1.5 inch less than -30 so that it will go straight down. So I went a little further than it needed to go. Then I can always trim that, and then I will extend the object up to it. I'm going to use the mirror command because it needs to be on this side. It's the same line. So I select the line, hit enter, pick the middle of the object as a reference, pick the middle of the object as the second part of the mirror line, and hit enter. Now it's created the angle on the opposite side. No longer need those three. I just used them to find out where that middle point was. Now here's where the miter line comes in. I can project up to the miter line, and then I can project that over into the top view to find that same 1 inch. Now this isn't necessarily required because again, you can use your offset command to figure that out. And then I just trim off the excess pieces. So if I were going to leave these, I'd make sure they were on the construction layer. That way they obviously are not part of the finished product. Now I have where this comes over and hits at the side view. And again, trim that out. If you want to leave it as a construction line, you can leave that. When I get to the end of this, I will turn all those construction lines off so you can't see them anymore. Now if I were looking for where this cut is located, I would project it from the top view down to my side view. And since this is the side and that cut is on the back, this actually will become a hidden line. Where it's hitting that angle is where it hits in the front view. So it doesn't go all the way up to the top because that is an angled surface. So your view should look as if it's also an angled surface. So I'm just switching things over to different layers now while you're thinking about that. And then I can trim off the hidden line. Then I can do the same thing. I can use my mirror command to make sure I have it on the opposite side, using the midpoint of my object as my mirror line. Now I have both sides, and I don't have to project this over and down to come up with that. Now for this front part with the circular shape, it's 2.75 to the center. So I am using the offset here. And it's just going to be a circle that we're going to draw with a radius of 0.5. Then on the outer edges, I can use that to connect to the end of the part. And then trim off the inside of the curvature. Then I would project the back edge into the front view, and that would be a hidden line because it's inside the part. I cannot see it from the top. And I would just trim that off. And again, I could use that as a construction. Then I also need to place a center line. And the center line will be marking the same center point, but it should extend out past the object at least about 1/8 of an inch.